Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's me to go first. I can't see a bingo with this rack, and Folder's going to score well and split up the duplicate R and provide an open board. That's not great, but I was drawing 6 random tiles, so not totally surprising. The W and U is a bad combination, so I'll be looking to play off one of those. I've got the Z for score. But what's going to be tricky is playing off the Z with either the U or the W. But the Z is such a good scoring tile, I may opt to keep it, and wow, great start for my opponent. A bingo, and there goes the first blank. So what can I do? What can I score with my Z? And if I keep hold of the Z, can I sort out the WU combination? Well, the Z can go in column 6, making Zol, and it can go underneath that L, making Luz. Now that's 32 points. What would be better than this? Where else can my Z play? Well, this isn't too bad a rack leave. Certainly the vowel consonant balance is fine. It's not particularly bingo-y, but I think the rack is a very hard one to resolve in one go. Now through an N, I think I would have Wagoner. The N of everyone is not available. Can't see any other bingos, but this should be a fairly straightforward rack to resolve. A play of Wog or Grow would leave a decent rack leave. I certainly want to play off one or both Gs and the W. Great, my opponent has changed. So, where can I play? I've got the AGE ending. Well, this board looks open. I'm wondering if Waggy is good. I could play that in row E. And what about column 4 through the F of Folder? Well, I've got Forage, but that keeps a G and a W. Wow, this is a much trickier rack to sort out than I was expecting. I can play Wog across here. Whoops. This isn't going to score very much, but the rack leaves okay. Only 19 points. I can't see anywhere else to play this. And it doesn't provide anything great for my opponent. Not good. I draw the V, which is a bad letter at this stage of the game, and lacks synergy with the G, and I've also got too many consonants and a duplicate tile in the R, so that my rack has actually deteriorated. I could play Gravy in row E. That's just been blocked, although I could now play it in column 6 for fewer points. I don't have anything to go in front of AGO. So I've got Gravy in column 6, which would certainly leave a good rack leave of RET. Only 16 points. So can I do better than that? Well, I can't see anywhere better, and given that I am behind, having a good rack leave is important, and this rack leave is pretty good. It's a 3-letter rack leave. But only 16 points. And I'm obstructing the floaters in everyone, so this doesn't feel great. Well, I can't see a better play. Burette, I believe, is good as a 7. But this board is not a particularly open board, and I don't have anywhere to play it. It would have been nice on the gravy play if I could have opened the board up. Wow, great play by my opponent. Another bingo for him. But fortunately for me, I now do have somewhere to play burettes. I have a slight doubt about this word, but not a big enough doubt to not play it. So burette 72. I could play burette in column 10, making NAE. But that would be for fewer points. And I can't see any other bingos. So hopefully this stays on. I note through an N I would have had a brunette, but the N of arsonist was not available. Now I don't have a bingo-y rack, but I have the J, which is a good scoring tile, and I'm just 6 points behind, although my opponent is on turn. Column 8 is quite hot, with the double letter square immediately above the second E of burettes. My B can go there. So I could play beef, which would score quite well. But where's good for my J? I'm looking in column 2 to see if I can... Well, my opponent's taken my beef spot, 36 points. I'm looking in column 2 to see if I've got a play which places my J in that triple letter square and then plays through the B of burettes. Can't see a play, and Fabist doesn't fit. I could play Fab down here. $38 points, which is a good score. Rack leave's pretty good. This isn't a bingo-y rack leave, but the J is a good scoring tile. Can I do better than this? I'm looking in row L to see if I can place my J on that double letter square. And play across to the double word square above the R of burettes. So my A would go above the B. What would go above the U? Nothing, so that doesn't work. Fab looks quite good. Certainly the score is good. Yeah, I think I will go with this. Well, not a great pickup. No, 3 consonants, no vowels. But the one vowel should be enough to enable me to play through this. I've got the T for going after OF in column 11. So I could play jets, burning my S. 34 points. I'm just 4 points behind at the moment, but my opponent is on turn. I'm looking again in column 2 to see if I can place my J on that triple letter square. That would triple letter square. That would be a 50-odd point play. But I don't see a word that can play there. Great, only 20 points for my opponent, but he hasn't provided any openings. So, do I want to play off the J? I could play G'd in column 5. That would keep MRS2, which is a decent set of consonants, but it's vulnerable to a similar rack to this one with a vowel shortage. It's only 24 points. It would be nice to score more than that. I'm looking in column 10 to see if I can place my J on one of the triple letter squares, and with a move which hooks NA, but I can't see such a play. Column 4, I've got the J for going in front of AY, but I can't see any JOF beginning words. So at the moment, all I've seen is G'd, which doesn't feel great. So what about playing Jets? It's playing off one more consonant, and I feel a lot happier with 3 consonants than 4. I'm far more likely to draw a vowel. 34 points is quite a good score, certainly better than the 24 for G'd. But the S is worth about 8 points. And I am providing a good scoring opportunity for my opponent in row H. He could easily score 40 points coming back. How important is keeping the S? I've got 11 minutes left, 39 tiles left. Wow, tricky, tricky play. Let me put this back for one moment. I don't want to see another move after clicking OK or clicking Done. If I had one more E, I would have Gemby in column 2. I think it's going to be close between G'd and Jets, but there's only one S left, only one blank, so I think I will retain the S, and this doesn't provide anything great for my opponent. Pretty good. I draw 3 vowels, which is just what I want to draw when I've got 4 consonants. No duplicates. I would have amortize onto an E, but the E's of everyone are not in the right place. So what other floaters are there? And do I have a play in column 11 hooking OF because I've got the T? So is amorist good? Well, don't feel confident about that. I am 23 points or 22 points behind. I've got atom in row O. And atomizer is the anagram of amortize. But atom's going to score quite well. Over 40 points. Just checking the floaters in everyone. Can't see anything with the V or the E or the Y. I don't think there are any other floaters to consider. If I don't take this spot, my opponent probably will. And the rack leaves pretty good. And I'm retaining the S. So atom, 43 points. Pretty good. But again, this is a tight board, so I may not be able to bingo, or probably won't be able to bingo. But I note now that I have a 21-point lead, so this is a close game. Row O is a bingo lane for plays through the N of mean with an S immediately after. Spruict and Prussic are both good through a U. But at the moment, the only floaters, apart from the row O N play, are the floaters in everyone, EV and Y. But since I'm ahead, I don't need to bingo, although obviously it would be good. Well, my opponent bingos, and he plays off the second blank. He has provided floaters, but this time none of them provide me with a bingo. So, what I want to do is play off my K, and then the rest of the rack is pretty bingo-y. So, where does my K play? Well, I could play Grike in column 11. There's a lot of E's unplayed, so I don't have to hang on to it. Hang on to the E. 2 T's left, I don't have any. I'm looking at the hooking of OF. I've got just over 7.5 minutes left. I think Parkside might be good, but fortunately there isn't an A to tempt me. So, where do I play my K? Well, what I could do, since my opponent has burnt the last S and the last blank, if I play Narc across here, then I'm providing a bingo lane in column 13 for bingos ending in S. Only face value bingos, but it is still a bingo lane, which might concern my opponent. Only 16 points, that's a shame. Can I open up the board elsewhere? It would be nice to open up column 1, but I can't see a good way of doing that. Yep, I think I will go with this. There is a Q unseen, so I don't want to play off a lot of tiles. Well, not good. I draw the X and I don't have a bingo, and I'm 40 odd points behind, so I will probably need a bingo to win. I have got EX in row B underneath the N and E of Epigones, but that's going to be taking out bingo lanes, which is a shame. It will, however, score quite well. But the rack leave isn't good. If I play EX, DILPS is just not a great rack leave. I could play Expels in row C. 44 points. Well, that's worth considering, although it is burning the S. That is 2/3 of a bingo. Now, through an E, I may have diplexes. Not totally sure of that. But there are 5 E's unseen, so my opponent may provide one. And I could play Expel in column 14, which would open up column 15. That would be for 28 points, and that would retain the S. And I could play Oxlip in column 12, which would keep DES, and that's quite a good keep. 28 points for that, so that might be my preferred play at the moment. My opponent's got 13 minutes left, 20 points there. Well, now he has provided an opportunity for me to play picks, which is going to score more than Oxlip. 42 points. And there are still bingo lanes open. Pretty good. But do I have a bingo? Elodia's is good, and that plays at the moment in column 14 parallel to picks. I don't think I have any other bingos. Does Elodia's play anywhere else? Don't think so. Through an M I would have some deal. I can't see anything beginning with the S of Epigones. Well, my opponent scores only 12 points, but he takes out my Elodia's spot, which is a shame. Cox takes an A after it. Yeah, I'm just checking to be absolutely sure that Elodia's is blocked, and it is. Now, my opponent has got a 30-point lead. So, I probably need a bingo to win, since I don't have any huge scoring opportunities with this rack. I'd like to play off just a couple of tiles to avoid drawing the queue. And I'd like to open the board up. I'm looking at putting my O in column 2 above bit, which would open up column 1. But the problem with just playing the O is very low score and keeping too many vowels, given that there are a lot of vowels in the bag. Well, what about taking advantage of the coxer hook? I've only got 4 minutes left, so I don't have a lot of time. Well, that's not good, because if I play coxer, coxer takes an E after it. And so either my opponent can take advantage of that, but if I play coxy now, I'm just opening up column 15, so that's not good. Just over 3.5 minutes left. Well, what about playing OE down here? Then I'm keeping a balanced rack, more consonants and vowels. Quite a bingo-y rack leave. And I'm keeping my A for going after Cox. Doesn't score very much, but I don't think I'm going to score very much with this rack. Through an H I would have weaseled. Can't see anything through the S, or beginning with the S of Epigones. Well, and I can't see any 7-letter bingos. Still 10 tiles left. I've played off my O, so I can no longer make the O-bit play. Swaled is good, I think. Does that play anywhere? No. So how can I open this board up? If I play WA at F2, I don't have an A or a T to go in front of that. So have I missed anywhere for swaled? Don't think so. I've got the E and Y of everyone to consider bingos starting with those letters, and I don't have one. So I think I'm looking for the best spot for my W. I could just play way and waff in row F. 18 points. I'm only 17 points behind at the moment, but my opponent's on turn. Can't see anything in row O using the NS combination, pluralizing arsonists. I quite like the idea of playing off just one tile, since there are some unpleasant tiles to come. I don't particularly want to add to my vowels or draw the Q, and the Q could be hampering my opponent. I'm looking around to see if there's anywhere I've overlooked. I suppose row C, there could be 9-letter bingos beginning with the R of gravy. But unlikely. My opponent's got 10 minutes left, I've got 3. I keep coming back to the final S of Epigonies in case I've got something coming down from that, but I just can't see it if I do. Column 10 is also a bingo lane because folder takes an S, but I don't have a bingo in that spot. And I'm looking in column 14 to see if I have maybe even a non-bingo play beginning AW making coxer, because that could score quite highly. But I can't see a play beginning AW. And there are still 3 or 4 E's unseen, so any score which makes coxer is likely to be countered by a play making cox E. Now, if my opponent's got the Q, he could be tempted to play QI in column 14, QI and PI, but if he does that, I'm going to hit him with swaled. Swaled and pies. He's certainly taking a while over this play. So, at the moment, my play is going to be way and waff, keeping a pretty good rack leave. I'm looking around to see if there's anywhere better for my W. But I can't see anywhere. Row E is also arguably a 9-letter bingo lane for bingos beginning V-O-Y. Well, there are no O's left, so that's probably worth forgetting about. Now, I could play WAD in row B, W-A-D, and I'm looking at the score differential. If my opponent only gets a small number of points, it's possible I could catch him without bingoing. 27 points for WAD. That's pretty good. And do I have a 5-letter play beginning with my D under the I of Epigonies? That would be D-I. Well, Dewal isn't good. So I don't think I do have a play in that spot on this on this move. So at the moment it's still Wolf, and my opponent is just burning so much time. Hopefully he's got a problematic rack. And maybe it will remain problematic. Or maybe he's got... I have no idea what the etiquette on this is. I certainly don't want to adjourn. Right, and my opponent has lost contact or quit, so the game has been adjudicated in my favour, which is a pretty unsatisfactory way of winning a game, especially one like this, which was so finely poised. I note from my opponent's finger notes that the number of unfinished games that he has is medium, which is an indication that he doesn't complete all his games, which is frustrating for his opponents. Anyway, let's have a look at what I missed in this game. So this was my opening rack. I played folder. That pretty much looks like the best play. Great rack for my opponent. He played everyone for 101 points, so terrific start for him. I had a horrible rack. Wow, Wurzel, that would have been nice. 6C. Where's that? Coming down column 6 through the L of folder. That would have been good. It would have played off the Z, U, and W. Instead, I played Luz for 6 fewer points and retained the W, so Wurzel definitely a better play. Horrible rack for my opponent. He changed. Well, hopefully more than one tile. Now, what did I have here? Waggery. Okay, pretty good. Didn't see that. That would have cleared out all of my problem tiles. Instead, I played Wog for 19, which for 11 fewer points, but actually my rack leave is pretty good. AEGR has a degree of synergy, and it's 4 bingo-y tiles. So that rack leave is actually worth quite a lot more than a singleton O. Now here's where I played Gravy for 16. I could have got 10 more points by burning my E and playing Grieve. Okay, Grieve probably slightly better. Nice rack for my opponent. This is where he played Arsonist. What else did he have? Onanists, and that was it. Okay, so good spot by him. I played Burettes. The only other bingos were Burette in column 10, which I rejected because of its lower score, and Rebutter, beginning with the R of everyone, which I didn't see, but was not as good as Burette's because it provides more openings for my opponent. So my opponent played Mean, and this is where I played Fab in column 10, and that looks best. Now, what did I play here? This is where I played G'd for 24. I was thinking about playing Jets in column 11. What I didn't think about was playing Jet at N1, but that's not good. It's placing a J immediately above a triple word square. So I think it's still between G'd and Jets, and given a situation where moves are close in value, I tend to err towards the better rack leave, which was the G'd play. Now, was Amarist good? Ouch, it was. Okay, so I missed a bingo there in column 11 and column 10, and quite a high probability bingo. But in this case, it didn't actually cost me a lot of equity because I had Atom in row O, which scored only 30 fewer points. I'm retaining a good 3-letter rack leave, which is worth about 10 to 15 points, and I'm taking out a good opportunity for my opponent. So Amarist may well have been the better play, but I probably only lost about 10 to 15 points of equity. Wow, great rack for my opponent, and he played Epigones here. Now, What did I have? This is where I was looking to play off my K, and I played Narc for only 16 points. I could have played Prim, L4. Oh wow, nice play. In column 4, making PE and Lipid, but not a great rack leave. DEKRS is not a good rack leave, and I was 50 points behind here, so I was looking to keep a good rack leave to maximise my chances of bingoing, and Narc achieves that, but this is a difficult rack to assess. Certainly would benefit from Quackle analysis. Now, this is where I had the X. Dex at B12. Ah, I see, underneath Epigonies, but taking out 3 floaters. Instead I played Picks with just 3 fewer points, and I think that's better. This is where I had Elodias, but nowhere to play it, and there were no bingos. What I did here was play OE and ZO for 13 points. Yeah, and I still like that because I'm keeping 5 good bingo-y tiles, and if I play off Odia, if I played Odia, I'd be keeping only 3 for only 9 more points, so I like my play. Did my opponent have a bingo here? He did not. This is the rack that my opponent had when he asked to adjourn the game and then left the game. So he didn't have a terrible rack. He had Eurydial on his rack. He could have played, well, he had a number of options in the 20s and 30s, so he was actually in a strong position. If he'd scored 20 or 30 points at this point, I would have been 30 or 40 behind. I would have played Way and Waff to be 20 points behind, but my opponent would have been on turn. And I think the game would have just depended on 2 things. One, who ended up with the cue and what they could do with it, and secondly, whether I was able to bingo. But unfortunately, my opponent left the game, so the outcome of the game, what it would have been, will never be known. Anyway, what there was of that game, which was most of it, I hope you enjoyed and got something out of it. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.